Rob Gladden, what do you know? It's 50 years of MSF this year.
Yeah, 50th anniversary this year. It's a big deal to us. 1973 to 2023 seems to have kind of gone by in a flash, because in 73 I was going from my Taco 22 to my GT80. I had no idea this is where I'd be, and I'd get an opportunity to represent all the great people out in the field doing all the great work.
And it is a lot of people in the field. How many ranges are there, and how many MSF range instructors are there globally now?
Currently, you're looking at a little over 2,200 ranges around the world, because our curriculum is used not just in the United States, but also by the military worldwide, and also the Kingdom of Jordan uses Motorcycle Safety Foundation curriculum. And then right now we're looking at just under 9,000 rider coaches or instructors around the world taking care of all those students.
And how many of those students have matriculated in 50 years?
We're at a little over 10 million students
Holy
trained
smoke.
in 50 years. And so right now we're averaging about 250 to 300,000 students a year.
That's a lot of numbers.
It's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of prospective riders.
Because of COVID and then the world changing, are we seeing more riders going through MSF training, holding steady? Where are we?
Yeah, we, in 2020, we, like everybody else, just kind of took a deep breath and held on tight going into the summer. And then in the states where training could take place, we saw that start to pick back up. We created alternative ways to deliver our classroom content outdoors and put that into the training community as soon as we could, as soon as it was safe to do. And it just took off like a shot. And all the rest of 20, from probably September, October in 20 through 21 and well into 22, we saw really strong numbers. Right now we're starting to collect our final 2022 training numbers. But based on what we can look at, which is our e-course student volume, training material purchases, things like that, it looks like it's holding up.
What is the demographic of that? Is it millennials? Are we seeing the future? Everybody.
Yeah, we're seeing. Yeah, you've got boomers going into retirement, and I'm going to buy that bike and hit the road. We've got people looking for alternative means of transportation, which is great, I think, to see 18, 19, 20-year-olds looking at two wheels as a way to get around, and everybody in between.
You haven't been stagnant in the last 50 years, but in the last, I'd say, 5 months, probably made a lot more progress than we've seen in decades with the new website, curriculum updates, all sorts of things.
Yeah, we did a bit of a reorg, restaff, reset through COVID, so we'd be positioned to come out of it very strong. Great support from our member companies who sponsor the MSF, and great support from the training community. But yeah, we've got an all-new website. We've got a ton of video content that our training providers and others can use. The website's easier to use and navigate, easier to find training near you, more information about our courses, and we've got a lot more digital content, so we're making it easier for people to find the digital content.
Pretty amazing to see how far it's come from one little pilot program now to those kind of numbers and accessibility.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you think about a handful of manufacturers starting the MSF and saying, keep our customers safe. We can sell bikes. We need people to teach them how to ride them safely, properly, keep them safe. And that's been no small part of our mission for 50 years. And I'm fortunate to work with some of the people who were there in the beginning and learn from them and kind of fill in the history, because it's long and varied. And it was, went from hundreds of people a year to hundreds of thousands of people a year. And that is a credit to the rider coaches and the instructors, because these are people who, they could be out riding on a weekend, but what are they doing? They're sweating in their boots, they're teaching in the rain, it's cold, it's windy, but they're sacrificing what could be prime riding time for them to teach new riders the right way through an MSF course. Yeah, the Ride With Us with MIC and Moto Intro with MSF are two initiatives that are really new, and it's to try and get people on a bike for the first time, because MSF's basic rider course is the best first ride if you want to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Sometimes people aren't quite ready for that. They want to just kind of dip their toe in the water, and those two activations are great for that, because you can do it in a couple hours and get a couple dozen people and just get them on a bike, have them pilot the bike under its own power, and get a feel for it. And we've seen a lot of people signing up for a basic rider course after they go through one of those activations because they realize this is pretty cool and I want to do more. Yeah, we've had our dirt bike school for a long time, and that's been a great entry point for a lot of people because students as young as 6 years old can take our dirt bike school, and families are encouraged, things like that. We get Girl Scout groups and Boy Scout groups and school groups and things like that. And that's how I think a lot of us old salts started, was started on a dirt bike in a lot down the street, and that's not an opportunity that everybody has anymore. So yeah, between dirt bike school and then these other activations like Moto Intro and Ride Days and Ride With Us, I think we're trying to create those opportunities for that first touch and give these people just that chance to see how awesome riding a motorcycle is.
We've expanded the market too. MIC is now reporting the ADV numbers. There's an ADV curriculum. All of that's changed pretty dramatically even since Corey's come on board.
Yeah, we started with the ADV course development about 5 years ago. It took a little bit. COVID obviously set us back. But what we saw is just the rise in popularity of the ADV unit sales. And then I see it, just out on a ride and things like that. And what I noticed is a lot of people who were coming off of street bikes for either relatively new or for decades on street bikes, getting on ADV bikes. So we wanted to create a curriculum to get them kind of out of the coffee shop parking lot and into the dirt. And so it's very entry level for ADV. There's a lot of courses out there, a lot of people out there that'll take you and just put you through the ringer and give you almost a Dakar experience. We wanted to be the bridge between the asphalt and that level of training. And so we took some of our dirt bike school learning, we took some of our basic rider course learning, and created our all-new ADV rider course. And it's been growing in popularity every quarter.
You mentioned the dealer component of this. How can a dealer get involved, get a range certification, and become part of this program?
We have information on our website, msf-usa.org, on how dealers or anyone can get involved in supporting rider education, either starting a training site for street bikes, starting a training bike site for dirt bikes. The nice thing about Dirt Bike School is because it's not a licensing course, we're not issuing anybody a permit or a license or anything like that. There's not a lot of the layers of bureaucracy that a street training course goes through. And because you have families and students as young as 6, it can be a great way for that dealership to kind of provide a community service almost and give people a way to kind of try out these bikes. And it's a very small footprint, 150 by 200 feet. It's a relatively short 4-day training period for the instructors, compared to the street stuff. So it's fairly easy to get into, and it's a great way to support your dealership by offering a first touch or a first learning opportunity for anybody who can come in who's over 6 years old.
That street stuff, it's a little bit more complicated and convoluted, but that's also because of the insurance and the protections that are built in to that program.
Yeah, the basic rider course, the MSF basic rider course, is recognized for licensing in 47 states, and it's also required by the military worldwide as a level 1 course. And so each of those states has their own rules, and we need to operate under those rules. So we work very closely with either the DMV or the Department of Transportation or the Department of Public Safety or the university system, whoever it is in that state who has jurisdiction over operator licensing. And that's no small part of the job of the staff of MSF, is knowing the rules and helping our providers navigate those rules, and then maintaining a strong relationship with the state agencies and the people at the state agencies responsible for rider education programs and licensing programs, so that we can make sure that everything's going smoothly, conforming with all the laws, and insuring it too.
Insurance is a big deal. Safety is a big deal, and that is the Safety Foundation's mission in life, basically.
Yeah. Safety is our middle name at Motorcycle Safety Foundation. It's job one. Our priority is always student safety. Everything trickles down from students and student safety. Our basic rider course has been around since 2001. It was launched then. It was a replacement for the Motorcycle Rider Course Rider Street Skills, MRCRSS, which was kind of slightly evolved from the very beginning. And so it's time for a refresh. We went through a long process, looked at adult learning principles, looked at motor skill development, modern teaching techniques. And so that was launched in 2001, and it hasn't just sat there. It's been updated, modified as we learn new things. But more recently, In 2014, we added a 3-hour e-course so students can complete a lot of the rote learning online. So, you know, the types of helmets, fashion leather, function leather, basic rules of the road, control locations. So when they got into the classroom, we could spend a lot more time on rider choices and rider behavior. So we have modules on avoiding drinking and riding that use the fatal vision goggles. Risk assessment, what's your personal risk acceptance? And they chart it at the beginning of the class, and they do it at the end of the class and see if maybe they've changed their mind about just how much, you know, risk they're willing to accept. And then 10 hours hands-on on the range. But over the last few years, we've rolled out a 5-hour version of that e-course, which combines the basic e-course with a human factors element of a couple of hours, where we take a lot of that same learning from the classroom about risk management, avoiding alcohol and other drugs and riding, proper gear, that type of knowledge, and we put it into a very robust 5-hour e-course. It's 4K, there's 360 options, you can stop in the middle of an intersection and look around and things like that. So that has been approved for implementation and is used in, I think, 44 states right now, with more in the pipeline. It's a coincidence that we came up with a way to eliminate the in-person classroom around the same time as COVID, but purely a coincidence, because we just saw that it was going in that direction, especially if you're going to reach younger audiences. They don't want to sit in a classroom. They want to do it on their phone, and our e-course content's, you know, device agnostic. You can do it on your phone, tablet, PC, and then it sets you up for what is now an 11-hour range session, 2 sessions on the range. And we've still taken some of the activities like the fatal vision goggles, because that knowledge of avoiding drinking and riding is huge. Because when you look nationally at primary collision factors nationwide, it's speeding, DUI, roadway departure. So those are decisions that riders make, not to speed, not to drink and ride, and navigate the curves properly by knowing how to ride a motorcycle. So we're trying to, you know, tackle all of these things while giving them a really robust learning experience, both online and on the range with the rider coaches.
Anything else we need to talk about going into the next 50 years?
It's going to be exciting. Wish I could be around to see it. I feel like kind of this caretaker, you know, of the last 20 years, had the privilege of working with some of the brightest minds in rider education and also in the industry. You know, I came out of the aftermarket, and this has just been a noble cause. I feel like I've made a little contribution to the whole industry, and we're trying to set it up for whoever comes behind us has a well-oiled machine that they can take into the next 50 years and keep riders safe.